Tonight's review is on Frankenstein, the 2015 edition. This is a reimagining of the classic story, which takes place in the modern day, just like Sherlock. It takes some story elements from the Mary Shelley novel as well as the Universal Boris Karloff movie, but as a whole, it is its own entity. In Frankenstein 2015, Victor Frankenstein and company have grown a new man in a laboratory, which is a better method than putting together dead body parts. And this new man seems to be perfect in every way. Even though he has the capacity of a newborn child, he's strong, he's quick, and he has a high tolerance for pain. But after a while, his skin begins to degenerate and he becomes deformed, so the doctors attempt to put him down so that they can restart from scratch, but the creature ends up escaping. So first of all, if you're a fan of the Frankenstein story but you don't like blood, fair warning, this might not be the movie for you because it is one of the most violent Frankenstein movies I've seen. Whenever the creature is being bothered by people and he starts fighting back, it gets pretty graphic. But this isn't a pure horror movie either, about a monster on the rampage. As is usually the case, Frankenstein's creation is essentially a pure character who doesn't know how to react to the world around him. Even when he's being extremely violent, it's not out of any kind of malicious intent. It's whenever he feels threatened or upset by something, and he does garner some genuine sympathy. Also, the acting is really well done. From beginning to end, you're following the journey of Frankenstein's monster from his point of view. It's pretty hard to carry an entire movie when you can't say much more than 2 words at a time, but the lead actor nails it. And I know a couple of people are going to try to correct me on that by telling me that Frankenstein is the real monster, not his creation. But in the movie, the main character literally introduces himself by name as Monster, so I'm being pretty accurate. Easily some of my favorite scenes in this movie came after the monster met a blind man and made friends with him, just like he did in Bride of Frankenstein. In this version, he's played very excellently by the Candyman himself, Tony Todd, and it's pretty enjoyable to see how their friendship blossoms. However, for a movie called Frankenstein, you don't get to see much of Victor Frankenstein himself. He shows up a little bit at the beginning of the movie, and you do get the sense that he's an asshole and that he has sort of this antagonistic attitude towards his own creation, but they don't do much with it. He shows up again during the final act, and he does get one interesting scene where he delivers some pretty harsh news to the monster, but really that's about it. They should have just titled the movie Frankenstein's Monster. Honestly, it is true that the monster elicits feelings of sympathy in this movie, but I feel like those feelings could have been a lot stronger if the conflict was more believable. Whenever somebody comes across the creature and starts being cruel to him, it feels like they're just doing so to be obligatory assholes. My biggest issue with the movie, though, is that you get this voiceover which is supposed to be coming from a more articulate version of the monster, which would be perfectly fine, except it really doesn't add anything to the story. It doesn't provide the audience with any information that you couldn't figure out for yourself, and some of it doesn't even make sense. Like, there's a point where you hear him saying that he's going to start inspiring fear in people if he can't earn their love, and you would expect this to be when things are about to get a lot darker, but they don't. The ending completely disqualifies that. Overall, I thought this version of Frankenstein was a decent effort. It has enough good things going for it to make it worth a one-time watch, but I don't think I'll ever be watching it again. I would say that if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead and give it a shot. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good one.